What's going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take out the Mezco 112 Collective BENDS action figure, and this is from the Rumble Society, I guess, collection, if you want to go name it that. But we're taking a look at BENDS here, and this is specifically the Tectonic Disruptor edition. So tectonic, you think of tectonic plates, you think of deep down sea diving, you think of maybe lava at the bottom of the seabed, you think of definitely a darker tone with a little bit of like red and orange and such. But I don't know, when I saw the design for this specific one, in the black with the red and the orange, it really, I think, encapsulates, especially with this head sculpt. I adore this head sculpt. It really does capture the pulpiness of the character's like design, and it also captures just kind of the, I don't know, I hate using the word badassery because I feel like that term gets just thrown around like a ton. With things that aren't that badass, but he really does look very simple as far as the design goes, but very badass. I think this head sculpt specifically, there's nothing wrong with the other head sculpt, and I think actually the other head sculpt works so much better with the blue version. Don't get me wrong, we'll go through the head sculpts and everything, but personally I do like this one the best. This gives off very Legion of Doom kind of Brainiac / Black Manta vibes here. Kind of if they had maybe a love child, the three of them, you would get some sort of helmet or head sculpt like this. Obviously, you're gonna with the other head sculpts, you're gonna get a very Aquamanish, 90s Aquaman feel to them, and we'll get to those as well. But overall, just where the sculpting is, it is wonderfully done. It's not overdone. It's not overly designed either. Like I said, it's simple. He's pretty much just like a kind of a black jumpsuit. And it is a very cloth feeling jumpsuit, but it does give off those vibes of maybe an older jumpsuit. But for some reason, I don't know why, I've seen the blue version and I wanted to get that version because it gives off very Kirby-esque color design to it, especially with the other head sculpt. But with this one, I think it feels a little bit more updated. I don't know why. It's the exact same suit, just different color to it. So no difference in the sculpt or anything like that. The head sculpt, really well done. With this head sculpt, I'm very pleased with this, and it really does just give off that kind of Black Manta vibe. I don't know, he looks evil, but I think of this dude as kind of like a hero, maybe like a misunderstood hero, you know. I'm just taking a look at all of the paint detail. He's even got some little dents right there on the back of his helmet, so he has seen combat with this helmet before. And I feel like this helmet, it's much more aerodynamic as far as swimming through the ocean, where the other one is very tall. And each helmet probably serves a different purpose. I mean, you can come up with any type of lore you want. That's the coolest thing about Rumble Society, is that you can kind of make up your own lore, even though they do have a little bit of lore coming out with each figure. And just kind of going through the packaging really quick, and I mean really quick because I normally don't talk too much about packaging. This is what it looks like as far as the Rumble Society packaging does go. We're kind of used to this at this point with them. We've got the magnetic little kind of gold circular piece right here. Gold on the top, gold on the bottom. Everything looks really good. You kind of open it up, and then you have your tray right there. You do have your obligatory, this is not a figure, but it's a figure thing. You also have some artwork for the slipcover in front. It looks really good with the BENDS traditional look. And he's got his Aquanauts, or Aquacons, sorry. I keep wanting to call them Aquanauts, I don't know why. But the Aquaticons, sorry. I'm saying everything wrong today. I'm just one of those days where everything goes wrong. The suit actually in the artwork, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of some of these artworks for the Rumble Society. All due respect to the person who does the artwork, but it's just not my cup of tea. It looks the designs look kind of flat, where you actually see the figure and it actually feel like there's more detail in the figure than the actual artwork, and that should never be the case. But you will see that this kind of has lines through it where the suit doesn't, and that's perfectly fine. I don't mind the way the actual figure is set up. I don't need it to look like a swimsuit, to be honest with you, or a wetsuit. You can see the Aquaticons right here. It kind of sounds like a band, BENDS and the Aquaticons, you know? That's what it sounds like. Maybe like a punk rock band or something. The BENDS or the Aquaticons or something. I don't know. Maybe like a ska band or something. Maybe not a punk rock band, but it closes up right there. As you can see, there's a magnet in there. Really nice packaging. It's very simple. It's got the Rumble Society skull logo right there, and then kind of a bigger logo right there. Flip around to the back, there's nothing going on. That's pretty much the packaging. Now, going into the first set of accessories here, and we've got some tubes, which I'm not messing with these tubes because I've seen these tubes break. They're entirely too long. I don't like the way they look when they're plugged into the back of him. So I'm going to skip doing that situation, but I'll explain them and how they go in and all of that. So, but if we open up the tray here, sorry for the crunchy noises. We do have a display stand, kind of like a floating display stand. So if you did want to have him kind of looking like he's floating in the air, or not really floating in the air, but floating underwater, you could use this and have him elevated up. Maybe do like a nice little background in your detolf or shelf, showing like I don't know, like an aquatic scenescape in the background if you wanted to. For now, for the sake of the review, we're just going to kind of set this aside, and we're going to move on to the next little bitty, which is really cool, and it is his kind of like I guess you'd call this a staff. It has a hook on this side and a blade on this side, and it is a translucent plastic, excuse me. You can see behind it or through it. So there you go with that. And I actually like this version better than the original version, which was colored a little bit different. I just think this goes with the perfect darker aesthetic, more of a serious tone, and I like it. It looks like it's kind of an energy blade of some sort, which looks nice. So it's not just your typical staff. But yeah, looks really nice, and I'm definitely going to have him posed with this. Next up, we have the display stand, if I can get it out here. Sometimes these display stands like to give me a fuss. There we go. We'll just do it the hard way. There's that, and here is the same artwork that we saw with the slipcover. You can actually see some water ripples on the top, so he's definitely under the sea right there. So looks good, and there's the Aquaticons all around him. So there you go. I like it. It says Rumble Society, BENDS right here. This is actually a very nice display stand. I hope they continue this, and I'm sure they will throughout the years, but very well done here. And last up, it does come with, on this first tray here, I'm trying to get that in there, the obligatory Mezco 112 Collective plastic bag. Moving on, we're going to discuss the tubes here. Now, this is my least favorite thing that he comes with. I don't really think it fits with the aesthetic. I feel like most people are not going to use these. And I have seen multiple collectors with breakage issues with these. These are very thin, kind of bendy wire-esque materials. Bendy wire does break down if you keep bending it back and forth over time, and it will snap. So basically what the point of these are is that they will plug in different ports. I want to say around, that looks a bit small, that's too big. Right there. I'm assuming there's tubing going throughout. No, that's entirely too small. I think this actually plugs into the other head, so I should probably have that other head out. But these larger ones do plug into areas right here on the side, right there. And like I said, these are all kind of have a bendy wire in them, so you can bend them specific ways. Maybe that one will fit in there. I'm just curious, as George would be. Nope, that is entirely too large of a hole. That's what she said. But you can plug that in right there on the back, and then you can port it anywhere else you want to. But the problem is, when you port these in, it's like it's sticking out so far, and while you can manipulate this and adjust this any way you want, I just think it just looks a little ridiculous when you're having these plugged in the way they are. Even if you have it just plugged in there, and then twist it and plug it in here. You know, it just, like, who wants to have this set up right here like this? I don't know. And obviously you can plug it in different ports. It doesn't matter, but I don't know. Personally, I'm not gonna probably use these. Yeah, no, thank you. And I'm assuming that probably most collectors will probably have him displayed without them anyway. So we're just gonna go ahead and put them back in the bag, and I'm not even gonna bother using them. Okay, and last little portion of this tray is the display stand. There's a little peg right here, peg hole there. I'm sure you can put two and two together and figure out that his foot pegs into the display stand, just like a SOA, and there you go. Okay, our next tray, we've got the Aquaticons, his backup singers, and we've got a nice little stand, a plume, if you will. It is a very thin plastic. It is a hollowed plastic, but a plastic nonetheless. He also comes with a capture net, which looks pretty cool and is quite hefty, if I do say so. He comes with 3 Aquaticons, and I thought he comes with 4. I may be mistaken, but no, I'm not. He comes with 4 total. He comes with 3 in here, and then 1 more in another one. Oh my. So here's the first Aquaticon. It looks like their face is articulated, but it is not actually. Oh no, it is a little bit, just a little bit. So there's that. He can piranha you if he wants to. And you can also stick the Aquaticons in these little spots right here if you wanted to, kind of have them displayed like so, which is pretty cool. So if you want to have, his backup singers behind him chilling in the coral reef, or this is kind of like a little plume, you could. Just be careful of these little plastic fins. These feel a little bit brittle, and try not to put too much pressure on them while placing them in there. But that's how they can sit, just like so. And here is the 4th little guy right there. There's so much stuff with this guy, jam-packed, that they had to put the 4th one with the other tray, which we'll get to in a second. Or you can just pop him up top. I mean, I guess you could put him. I get worried about these putting too much pressure on these fins and then them not wanting to stay properly. I don't know. Why will you stop falling, sir? But that's what you can have them look like right there. We got some different colorations here going throughout the plume. We've got kind of like a dark rock bed right here. Then we've got this kind of transition into maybe a darker orangey color into a nice red up top, which looks really good. And the Aquaticons are black, and it looks really good with the color scheme here. Not that everything needs to be color coordinated. This is not a fashion show, but I think it looks cool as far as keeping them black. They'll blend in with the deep dark sea. And it looks really good. Looks very well done. So we'll just set those little guys aside as little backup singers for now. Under the sea. Sorry. I keep wanting to say that. I don't know why. I wonder. Moving on to this net. We'll get this opened up. Grab our trusty, dusty little cutter here and just cut it across the top. Cut it out, as they would say in the Full House. Here is your net. It has these little kind of metal balls on each end. And it is a rather large net, so you got pretty good coverage right there as far as that goes. And it does stretch out too, so it's good stretchy material. This will cover a full figure. And just let me just bring in, who am I going to capture today? Let's go ahead and capture us a Bret Hart. You know, we're going to capture a Bret Hart today. Bring in Bret, and he is now captured. Okay. And like I said, it does stretch out, so you can get him fully covered here. And he's not getting out of there. He's like, hey, I'm the best there is, the best was, and the best you ever caught. Okay? So that's what Bret is. All right? So there's your Bret segment. Get him out of here. And that is your net. And this does feel like a very nice, durable net. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like it's going to just break or anything like that. It's very durable, and like I said, good weight to it, especially with these little kind of like weighted balls. I feel like I should have some sort of innuendo while I'm saying weighted balls, but or Benoit balls or whatever you want to call them. But we're gonna move on. I'm not gonna act like a 11-year-old child anymore. So okay, next up we've got this anchor, which is really awesome. Very nice actual metal chain that's connected to the plastic anchor. I think it would have been even cooler if this was actually like some sort of like die cast or something like that. But I don't mind the plastic, it's fine. It does feel like a little bit more of a lighter weight, brittle plastic, but I think it would have been really cool if they included a metal chain with some sort of like a weighted die cast metal to it. But it's a nice feel. Nice heft to it, and you can swing it, you can dangle it any way you want to do with this, but it's a nice little touch. And there's even some kind of like red paint shading going throughout the kind of gunmetal gray we've got for the anchor, where I think on the first version it is definitely painted differently than this. So but a nice little touch there. It almost looks like an orangey red, so it's pretty consistent with the eyes for the mask and the belt. So pretty nice there. Okay, next up we're going to discuss some hands here. We've got two of these kind of open gesturing hands. I'll just bring in the other one as well. There are the two open gesturing hands, and they do have a little bit of black gloss paint shading going on the knuckle dusters there, or the palm guards, whatever you want to call them. But they are there. They are there. They do look good, and they're a nice little gesture for you. So I dropped the one. Very well detailed as far as the hands go. And you can actually even see some wrinkles in there. If I can get this to focus properly. But you can see even some wrinkles in there. It looks very well done as far as that's concerned. There we go. So very cool. Next up, we've got the gripping hands, which are probably going to be used the most for me. Oops, as I drop them all over the place. Let's see if I can grab some different set of tweezers here. There we are. And just looking at that nice little detail right there. It looks very well done. Very pleased with it overall. And both hands are pretty much the same, just opposite of each other. But there you go. Little look at those. And then he also comes with the fist hands, which he has in package brand new. So as soon as you pull the figure out, he'll already have the fist hands in there. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to pop those off. And they do pop off very nice and smooth. It's not a harsh pop, so you don't have to worry about any issues with breakage or anything like that. Too much pressure on the joint. So you definitely don't have to worry about any of that, which is a plus. There we go. And he's all set to do his grippage. And he can do his grippage, if he wants to, with his, I guess his axe staff, whatever you want to call that. Not technically a trident. Maybe most people would have been like, oh, maybe he should have came with a trident or something. You know, that's Aquaman's thing. Let's leave that for Aquaman. BENDS, he's a little bit different. Different kind of cat, you know? Different kind of stripes, different kind of cat, you know what I'm saying? Not a mean bro. That's probably how I'm going to have him displayed. I think he just looks fantastic like that. I love it, and I love it. Really glad I picked this guy up. I'm so happy I picked him up. And if you're looking for something a little bit different, you don't want to just continue to collect the same old with Marvel and DC. You can go with this, and it's just as fantastic. So we'll just set him back there for a second, and we'll go through the other head sculpts. Here is the head sculpt he comes with in package, and it looks very well done. Let me just zoom in here. There we go. Oop, zoom down a little bit, and there we go. Looks really good. I like the very Kirby-esque design for this. And you can kind of flip this little visor upward, and you can actually see the eyes of BENDS in there. And the color, even the his skin color. So very cool. Kind of curious as to more of the lore of this character, which looks really nice. On the back, you can see you have two smaller ports right there on the back, here and here, where you can port those skinnier kind of bendy wires into that port and that port, if you so choose. You have larger ports up here if you need to stick those larger tubes into there and there, if you need to. Where this helmet, you don't need to do any porting because there are no portholes on the back of this helmet. So there are no portholes there. Let me see if any of these are removable. They are not part of the sculpt, so you don't really have any reason to hook those up to that head sculpt. It's just strictly for this one right here. Okay? And you have two more portholes on each side right there. So, world is your oyster with the porting. All right, next up we've got the first unmasked head, so we finally get to see BENDS' unmasked face. And like I said, it's very 90s Aquaman with the hook hand, or the harpoon hand, whatever you want to call it, or the trident hand, whatever you want to call it. But it looks really good. Very pleased with this. I think this is another reason why I wanted this version so badly. Wasn't just the color scheme and everything. It was pretty much, you know, the extra heads and the aquaticons being a different color as well. So very nicely done as far as that's considered. And then here we have kind of an unmasked, kind of breathing underwater face, which is really nice. Very much like this. This does remind me of kind of the DC Universe Classics. I shouldn't say DC Universe Classics because technically not a DC UC, but the Club Infinite Earths 90s Aquaman, which I love to this day. I adore that figure. He didn't have a screaming face with that, but his hair was kind of this flowing style. So I almost wonder if Mezco kind of, this is like a little nod to that. But looks really good, very well done. And the skin tones are consistent with both head sculpts. And I'll bring in the other head sculpt here. As you can see, they're both very consistent. And it's also consistent with the unmasked portion of this helmet. So all of the little pieces kind of match each other, and it looks really good. He doesn't have any pupils or anything like that. He kind of looks like he's some sort of god. It looks really awesome. If you wanted to, you could take your display stand, you can take your BENDS, you can put them on there if you wanted to, and have them all nice and set up for the rest of the crew. And there you go. He looks fantastic. Really loving this look for him. And you can bring the Aquaticons and put them behind him if you wanted to. Kind of have his, the lead singer and his backups all together. There you go. Give him the little Dutch tilt. But yeah, very pleased with the overall aesthetic of this figure. Like I said, very simple in design, but it works, man. It really does work. So let me get him off his display stand here, and we'll get this out of here, and we'll go through articulation, range of motion, and such. If you do want to have, actually, before I get to range of motion, articulation, and such, why don't we put the other heads on so we can actually get an idea of how everything looks and feels. So there's that one head. Here's his traditional head. That's how he'll look with the traditional one, right there. And I still think this looks really good. Like I said, it's kind of like the world is your oyster. This is like the Ultimates version of Baron BENDS right here. So you can have with that, or if you want to have him with the regular face on, everything just pops on very smoothly. So if you want to have him unmasked, you could. And this is a very tempting head sculpt right here, I want to say, for the most part. It is very, very tempting. It looks absolutely wonderful. Loving it. Let me see if I can get focused up here. And I'll adjust my camera for you all. For you all. Excuse me. Not y'all, but for you all. And I really love like the it's like a greenish blue for the hair and the beard. Looks very well done. Maybe my lighting is a bit too bright, so it's washing it out a hair, so I do apologize for that, but that's pretty much what it looks like with that head on. Let's take that head off. And like I said, everything with transitioning from head to head, it is very smooth. You don't have to worry about anything being too harsh. Let's get that on there like it's supposed to be. There we go. A little bit of pushage with that. Pushage. That's not a word. But there's the screaming head, and the hair is going to probably bump this little tank right here a little bit. It's just going to get in the way. But it looks really good. It almost looks like little tentacles, like he's got an octopus hair or something. Kind of reaching out to get you. Bleh. Looks really good. But look at that screaming face. That is the face only a mother could love, I guess. And he actually has, if you look in there at his tongue, and let me just readjust my lighting here. You can actually see, almost has like a goldish tongue, which is very unique. The man with the golden tongue. That should be a title of a Bond film or something like that. As far as his articulation, range of motion, and such does go, hopefully we can kind of focus up here. The head will go up about that far with this head sculpt on, and it will go down. With the both of these heads, the unmasked heads, you're definitely going to have hindered range of motion, just because the hair is getting in the way constantly. Even with swiveling with the screaming head, obviously you saw that it's going to bump this tank right here. But actually with this head, you probably have the best range of motion. So there's that. But the head can look up. So if you want to get him into like a swimming pose, it'll look up, and let's see if it'll stay up. It doesn't seem like it's wanting to stay up. It'd stay up a little bit if you kind of push back on that ball peg. And the neck can look down, so he can look down at his foes if he needs to. Tilt side to side. Let's see if we got jive turkeys. Oh my God, we've got the ultimate of jive turkeys. So there's that. Like I said, it does tilt. Arms go up about that far. And try not to force it too much because you do have a seam right here. Goes down. We do have butterfly joints in there, so that's nicely done. And like I said, the arm goes up. He does have a bicep swivel. He does have double jointed elbows. And like I said, still be careful. This is cloth that you're working with, so try to be a little bit understanding of that. And the gauntlet is definitely hitting the bicep armor there. So it's not going to do the full double joint like the body underneath the suit wants to, but it'll get the job done. It's more than 90 degrees anyway, so you're good to go. The wrist can swivel, and it can hinge up and down. Okay, let's check this one, and it also hinges up and down. So there you go with that. And we'll just get his arm straight up again. His arm can go up about that far, and it's starting to twist the cloth here, so that's about it as far as getting him up. As far as back goes, that's about maxed out there as well. Also try to be careful not to bunch this up and twist the cloth too much. You don't want to damage your cloth there. He can tilt back, he can tilt forward, he can pivot side to side. He can also twist at the diaphragm, and he can twist at the waist. So there is a waist twist there. It does exist. You can do the splits about this far, and definitely don't push it because you do have a seam right there at the crotch. You don't want to rip it open. Legs go forward about that far, go back, and I don't really need him to do anything crazy like splits or anything like that. It's a little unnecessary, but he does have an upper thigh swivel. He does have a double jointed knee, and that's about it right there. He does have a little bit of a boot swivel right there. He can point the toe, not really. He can point the heel a little bit, so it's a little bit of a wobble. But he does have nice ankle pivot, and it does actually, I mean, you can flatten him out very easily. So it's not too much of an issue. You can still get him into nice poses if you need to, and get him ready and set for action if you want to. So there's no issues really with posing him that I've had. So if you need to get him in a ready stance, you can get him into a ready stance. Not too shabby right there. So quick and easy ready stance pose. He's ready to go. He's ready to fight. He's ready to take on Krieg 13 if he needs to. The bounty hunter's coming for him. And now he is swimming towards his foes. There you go. Looks really good. Very simple, like I said. Simple in design is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes simplistic designs work the best, you know? Sometimes they just do. I just love this head sculpt. I can't get over it. I love it. So cool. But that's pretty much it for articulation. He does have 2 peg holes at the bottom of his feet. Obviously, I showed that before. And just kind of going over last minute, and sorry for the fuzziness there, just the head sculpt and such, just the detail going throughout the body. I'll give you one more quick shot of that. Everything just looks very well done. Very planned out. Love the little tank sticking up on the back there. And it does have a porthole as well, so if you wanted to port the tube into there, you could do so. And there are 2 portholes on the back, which I did not catch earlier. So this is part of doing a review. You don't catch everything. There's also 2 smaller portholes right there if you wanted to plug in those smaller piping into there if you wanted to. Which I did not catch the first time, so that's why we do the review. You know. The boots somewhat remind me of Deathstroke's boots. I don't know why it gives off those vibes, but they are a thicker boot, which is nice. I like it. I like it. You know, just seeing this character and this figure, the way he's set up, the way he's done, how he was accomplished. I could definitely see them doing a Black Manta in the future. Absolutely could see them doing a Black Manta. I mean, I just think it makes sense. They've already given us Aquaman. Why not give us a Black Manta for our Legion of Doom? And I think it just makes sense. It really does. Okay, and the first set of comparisons, as far as size comparisons do go, we've got 2 of the newest wave of Halo figures from the Spartan collection from Jazzwares. On the right, we've got Spartan Mark V armor, and then on the left, we've got Palmer, So that's how they stack up with Jazzwares figures. And I think they actually stack up pretty well, seeing as the Jazzwares figures are a little bit taller, a little bit beefier. So I think Mezco figures and Jazzwares Halo figures actually work out pretty well if you wanted to kind of cross-brand them or something like that. Next up, we've got on the right, we've got a WWE Elite figure in Bret Hart. And then on the left, we've got Vorthog from Mythic Legions. Okay, next up, we've got an Articulated Icons Ninja on the left. And on the right, we've got a Spawn figure from the McFarlane line. And obviously, the Spawn figures can be a lot larger. They're a different scale. They're more around true 7-inch scales. Okay, next up we've got two other Mezco figures, and we've got Doc Nocturnal on the right from Rumble Society, and then on the left we've got the Supreme Knight regular release from Mezco as well. And in the spirit of Halloween, since it is getting closer and closer to Halloween, as we're in October of 2021. We also have Baron BENDS with two NECA figures. We've got the Scream Killer, Ghostface Killer on the right, and then we've got Michael Myers on the left. Okay, and last up, we've got a Marvel Legends Morbius on the left, and then on the right, we've got Sir Gideon Heavensbrand. Okay, so for my final thoughts on Baron BENDS here from Mezco and kind of the Rumble Society thoughts also. Seeing as this was my first Rumble Society figure. I wanted this to be my first one because I just loved the design and I love the alternate head. I don't know, I'm still kind of scratching my head if I want to get the blue version. I don't think so. I might just skip it and just stick with this guy because it just looks so great. There's not really a necessity to get the other one either. I don't know, maybe if I have liquid funds down the road and I really want to get another one, I guess I could, but I think this is the one to get. If you're kind of on the fence between the blue version and the black version, I would say go for this one. It comes with 4 different heads. It comes with the Aquaticons. It comes with the plume. It comes with pretty much, I mean, everything I've shown as far as the figure goes. I feel like it's just a little bit better than the blue version, or the blue version does not come with the unmasked heads. This one does. So I think this is more of that Ultimates feel. Like they had the blue version, which came out with some of the regular stuff, and then they added a little bit more to it, kind of like what NECA does with their Ultimates. And you get the Ultimate version that you would want here. I think it looks great. I love the staff. I love this little anchor, which could be used as a wielding weapon. I just like it. It looks fantastic. I don't think he really needs much else. He doesn't need any guns really or anything like that. Maybe a harpoon would have been cool, a harpoon gun or something like that. But Baron BENDS, I feel like seeing he's obviously a different type of race or something. You know, obviously maybe he could breathe underwater. Maybe the helmet is just more of like a war helmet. I don't know. We don't know. These are things we don't know. So we have to kind of go with the flow as far as making stuff up on our own. I am looking forward to picking up Krieg 13 because these two are, I guess, some sort of quote-unquote rivals, even though there's not really that much lore to go off of. I love the little Aquaticons as they fall out of their little display there. Yeah, I love the little Aquaticons here. They're so cool. It's a nice little cool accessory that he comes with. They're kind of like his backup, and it seems like he can kind of like control them. Whether it's using his mind or what, we don't know. They also look very mechanical, which is pretty cool too. So maybe they're like a cyborg, you know, like I need sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads, Scott. Pretty awesome, and I would definitely give this a 2 thumbs up and a full recommendation. Baron BENDS is fantastic. It just really does give off the figure, even though he is limited with some articulation in certain points. And I would like a little bit better range of motion in the feet, but I get it. The sculpts are kind of getting in the way. Not trying to really make excuses, but there's not really too much that I hate about the figure or don't like about the figure. he doesn't really need to be the most posable person, because all you really need him to do is essentially what he can do already. So the form does meet the function, I think. And already going into the battle with most Mezco figures, if they're wearing a cloth suit, you know they're going to have hindrances. So it's just going to exist within that figure. But yeah, this is definitely a solid recommend. I'm going to stop rambling here because I just want to enjoy this figure and kind of play around with him. But if anything, I feel like this one might hold up a little bit more. I feel like the cloth that he's wearing and his suit, it's a thicker cloth. I feel like it'll take way longer for this suit to break down than most other suits. Like, I've felt the Superman suit on the previous Superman, and it feels a little bit thin. But this one feels thick and durable, almost like he's wearing like a snowsuit or something. But I love it. It's really cool, and I'm kind of glad that they went with this cloth and not like a I guess a scuba suit or something like that type texture, because I feel like that would kind of break down a lot faster than this. So I love his design. I love the look. I love the alternate heads. I really don't have too much negative to say about it, other than, you know, he can only do so much as far as range of motion. His articulation is going to be hindered. But that's with most Mezcos, like I said. So now I feel like I'm just repeating myself. Other than that, that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.